Hello folks, it's the Pace Chaser again. Welcome to another video, and this time I'm in Openshaw in East Manchester, just off the Ashton Old Road, to look at the very short remains of a little industrial railway. The railway in question belonged to the English Steel Corporation Limited. Now they were jointly owned by Camel, Laird and Vickers, two of the engineering giants of British industry. They pooled the resources when it came to basic steel making, and they formed a joint venture, the English Steel Corporation, to oversee all that. Most of their works were in the Sheffield area, but they had one in East Manchester, and the original works was here, the Whitworth Street works, just in front of me. The the other side of it, there is a railway line, the one that runs from Ardwick Junction near Manchester Piccadilly, as it is now, through Ashbury's and Gorton to Fairfield and Guy Bridge, and you can either get to Staley Bridge or up to Glossop and Hadfield, and back in the day you could go to Sheffield. And just for orientation, we are between Ashbury's and Gorton stations, and off that line were Ashbury's sidings, where there was a siding into the Whitworth Street works of the English Steel Corporation. That works was there in the 19th century. In the early 20th century they needed to expand it, but they couldn't, because all these streets around here, as strange as it may seem when I look around, were all built up with terraced houses. As you can see, they've all gone now. So what they did, they built another works just behind me, across Ashton Old Road down Wood Street, and that's where we're going to go, following the route of the railway. That works was known as the North Street Works. It opened in 1907, and they put a little railway in to link the two works together. The Whitworth Street Works closed in the 1930s, and after that the railway just took goods from Ashbury's sidings directly to North Street Works. English Steel Corporation had their own locomotives to do that work. It wasn't worked by the main line locomotives, it was worked by their own, and for many years it was an 040 saddle tank steam locomotive. In about the late 50s, early 60s, it was replaced with a little four-wheel diesel, which appears from photographs to have been a Ruston and Hornsby product. I'll just give you a bit of the history of the English Steel Corporation after the 1930s, when it closed at Whitworth Street Works, just for context, and then we'll follow the route of the railway. So it was nationalised in 1951 as part of the Iron and Steel Corporation of Great Britain. Nationalisation didn't seem to suit it, because it was denationalised again, or privatised, shortly afterwards in 1954, and bizarrely it was bought back by Camel, Laird and Vickers, its original owners. They owned it until 1967, when it was renationalised, this time as part of the British Steel Corporation, and it became part of their tool steel division. Again, nationalisation didn't suit it. It was sold again to Edgar Allen in 1972, and the North Street Works closed in January 1981. It's not quite clear when they stopped using the railway. It was still in use in the mid-1960s. I remember reading a book about trolleybuses where somebody reminisced about riding the trolleybus, and they closed in 1966, but they saw this railway from the trolleybus, they saw the little train from the trolleybus. But yeah, we don't quite know when it ceased to be used. So the line came out of the site of Whitworth Street Works, lastly just straight from Ashbury's sidings through a gateway, and it looks like the gate posts are still there across the road. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like they might be the original gate posts, but as you can see where the gates were, it's been filled in with breeze blocks. It came across this road. This is Whitworth Street East. It came across on a level crossing that was just open. There were no gates or anything. When a train wanted to come across, a man would walk into the road with a red flag and stop any traffic that there happened to be. It then went down Redby Street. Now Redby Street, like all the streets around here, as we said earlier on, had terraced houses both sides. There was a shop on the corner about here, but what marked it out from the rest of the streets around and about was it had a railway line running down the middle of it. And in actual fact, if I climb this little bank here, it still has. Look at that, folks. Isn't that amazing that it still survived? Redby Street, as you can see, has been blocked off. They're about to redevelop this area. Now I did hope that they would keep this little bit of railway as a feature, but it doesn't look like they're going to do. There's planning permission gone in to build a, I think it's called a strike-through school. In other words, the nursery, the primary school and the secondary school are all on the same site. So you'll come here when you're 3 and leave when you're 16 to go to either sixth form college or to training or anything like that. So yeah, I very much doubt they're going to keep this as part of the school complex. So I'm doing this video in May 2025. It should be on a couple of weeks after I filmed it. So if you do want to come and see this for yourself, then you need to get down here pretty quickly, because I think it's going to go. So yeah, it ran down Redby Street. As you can see, the street itself has been blocked off in more recent years. But it ran down. I'm going to walk along the 4 foot in the middle of the railway, because I can. And then it went across Ashton Old Road on another level crossing that was open, no gates. Again, a man would walk into the road with a red flag, and just stop the traffic. I'm guessing if you did that nowadays you'd just get run over. So I'm going to climb that bank just ahead of me, and I'll show you where it went next. So there's the remains of Redby Street just behind me, and it went across Ashton Old Road, straight across and down into Wood Street, and that's where we're going to go next. So there we go, so Redby Street is across there, blocked off, but still with its 20 miles an hour signs, and the railway came straight over into Wood Street. As you can see, one old building has survived, but the rest of the buildings, the houses that were down here, again it had houses both sides, they've gone, and the road's been tarmacked over. The lovely granite sets you see on Redby Street there are not here anymore. I strongly suspect if you look at the markings in the road that the railway lines and the granite sets are still there underneath the tarmac. I'm guessing they just tarmacked it all over. But councils do tend to get a bit annoyed if you go and dig the road up, so I won't get the pickaxe out and dig the surface up. But I'm guessing if you did, the lovely granite sets and the railway lines are still underneath. So from Wood Street, the line came across here, across its third ungated crossing across Parkhouse Street, and into the English Steel Corporation's works, which was there. There's still a gate post across the road. There was one on this side as well, somewhere in the middle of where this fence is. And between the two of them there was a big metal arch which had the letter in English Steel Corporation Limited in it, in separate metal letters. All that pride. I mean, nowadays if the works was built it would just have a fence like that with a gate in it, wouldn't it? But yeah, it had a big metal arch, and the trains accessed it through there between the gate posts and went down into the works. So looking through the fence, there's no remains of the railway in there. It does look like it's been properly removed as well, not just covered over. There is a slightly older building back there that looks like it could be part of the North Street works. But yeah, that's where it went, and that's where the works was. Nice to see it's still in industrial use, not covered with modern square houses like everything else seems to be. But that was the English Steel Corporation and its railway line. As you can see, we've not come very far. If I go back round, you can see Wood Street, Ashton Old Road with the cars going across in the distance, Redby Street and back to the other works. So that's it for this one, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.